So to start us off today, I'm going to talk specifically about the BloodHound signals option here, and then more specifically I'm going to talk about the logic template section here, and what exactly is BlackBird receiving from BloodHound when you're using these BloodHound when you're using a BloodHound signal here. So let's see. Yesterday I created some. I'm going to use yesterday's BloodHound file from the workshop. There we go. And I had created a couple of logic templates just for the question for now here. So so we have the entry signals logic template here, and then a simple exit signal here to kind of demonstrate. So all right, so let me actually don't need to select the logic template yet, but I always used to say in the Raven, whenever I do some Raven training, I always used to point out that it's always a good idea when you're loading BloodHound into Raven or BlackBird, that you take a look at your logic template before you just quickly click OK. It's always a good idea to look at your logic template and just make sure that all the leaders look like they're connected up correctly. It's quite easy when you're building something, when you're building your logic in BloodHound and doing some testing and whatnot, it's quite easy to kind of forget to connect up a leader, or maybe the result node is connected up, somewhere down the line. It's easy to kind of leave it in a testing state, I guess you could say. So just bottom line, just make sure that your leaders are connected up correctly, for any logic template that you're using here. I guess a better example would be like this one here. Now it's a little more complex, and it's easy to forget that maybe you were testing your reset solver there and you left it like that by accident. So just take a look, make sure everything's connected correctly. Just a good double check. Simple things like that is usually 99.9% of the time. Usually it's something simple that becomes a problem. So all right, so anyways, there's my entry signals, and if I'm going to follow my own logic here, let me just check the exit signals, and yeah, see, perfect example. There. Let me connect that up, and actually that is the wrong solver even. Yeah, that was completely the wrong solver. So it's a good thing I heeded my own advice. All right, let's get rid of that one. That's supposed to be the right one, labeled exit for the exit signals. Okay, so I guess I proved my point by accident. All right, so there. Now that I've double checked my BloodHound templates, let's get going. All right, so for the entry, I'm going to set the entry signal logic template for my entry signals and my exit signals. I'm going to set that to my logic template named exit signals. All right. Now, and actually, I guess before I get started here, I want to note that I have show on chart. So that means BloodHound can be added to the chart, and we'll show the racing stripes as well. So let's click OK, and you'll notice BloodHound doesn't appear on the chart. Well, that's because NinjaTrader doesn't allow indicators to be instantly added to the chart. In order to add to the chart, in order for a new add-on, whether that could be a new whether for a new indicator or a new strategy, anything to be added to the chart, the chart always has to be reinitialized, and that's what this reload does. So the reload script reinitializes the chart so that new components, new software can be added to the chart there. So let's do that. All right, and there's our BloodHound. And let me pull my chart open a little bit so we can see all the pull down menus. Okay, so notice right here is our BloodHound file, and then here's our logic template. Right, you can see it says no logic template selected, and that's what we see on the chart. We see what, we see what is selected from the chart. Now, that's where things will differ from BlackBird. So let's note my settings in BlackBird. Right, my entry signals are locked to this logic template. Right, let's stretch this out. There we go. So we're using the entry signal template, entry signals with MACD filter. However, what's on the chart is no logic selected. That's what we see on the chart. But what we see on the chart is not what BlackBird is going to trade. BlackBird is going to trade the logic template that we selected. So what we see on the chart has no bearing on what BlackBird is actually going to trade. So the signals, basically the data that's coming out of the entry signal with MACD filter logic template, right? The signals coming out of this is what BlackBird will be using, regardless of what we see on the chart. Right? Same for the exit signals. BlackBird is only going to use the exit signal logic template for exit signals. It doesn't matter what we see on the chart. It doesn't matter one bit. So let me close out of this. So I can show on the chart whatever I want. I could show this new logic, and that has no effect on what BlackBird will trade or use. Right? If I want to show the new logic template, great, I can do that. But still, BlackBird is locked to these two logic templates. So when you specify the name of a logic template, BlackBird is locked to that logic template. It doesn't matter what you see on the chart. So even though we see the new logic template on the chart, it's BlackBird has no knowledge. BlackBird has no knowledge of this new logic template that we see on the chart, right? Because it's not using that logic template. It's using these other two here. It's using exit signals and entry signals with MACD filter. So, all right, now there is an exception to that, or additional functionality. Right, we do have this use chart pull down option. So if we use this, so as the name implies, use the chart pull down. So now BlackBird will be using the new logic signals for its entry signals. Right, so we put use chart pull down in the entry signal section here. Right, so and of course, there isn't for the exit signals. You don't want to be. It's what should I say? It's what's the right term? It's pointless to use your entry signals as your exit signals, because your entry signals, they can reverse each other. So in other words, for the entry signals, if you get a long signal, let's say, right, we get this long signal here, so BlackBird goes long, and then if a short entry signal appears, BlackBird will reverse itself and go short, right? So an exit signal is not needed, or I should say, if you're using the same logic template for the exit signals, it's kind of like duplicate work, right? Because the entry signals are going to reverse you, so the exit signals are not needed, right? So, and yeah. So therefore, that's why you don't see use chart pull down for the exit signals. We want to make sure that people don't put use chart signals in both the entry and the exit, right? Because then basically basically your exit signals would, in effect, kind of be nullified if you had use chart pull down in both. So the exit signals, you do need to select an exit, or you do need to select the logic template to actually use for the exit signals there. So we'll use that one there. So all right. So getting back to the entry signal template here. So use chart pull down, right? So when that is used, you must be very careful, because whatever you see on the chart is what BlackBird will trade. BlackBird will use the signals on the chart for its entry signals now. So here, let's I didn't create an order set, so I can't enable it, but and so if I decide to, like, say, I want to take a peek at my exit signals, well, BlackBird's going to start trading that as your entry signals. So you got to be very careful to not, or be very careful to select the correct logic template on the chart, right? Yeah, so when use chart pull down is selected, be very, very careful. So and one other thing to note about this is so if you remember when BloodHound was first put on the chart, right, the no logic selected, that is the default, right? That is the default selection when BloodHound is first placed on the chart, right? And so so be very careful, because BlackBird will start trading this if this is what is left on the chart. So probably the best thing is you would want to start BlackBird up with the auto trader disabled here. So let me start things up again from scratch here. So I will actually here, I'm going to shut down BlackBird the right way here. I'll just flatten everything. There you go. That'll remove BlackBird. All right, so let me remove BlackBird. We'll start from scratch. So if I want my BloodHound entry signals, and I want to use the use chart pull down, here's kind of a good procedure to follow through on that. So let's see, let's turn strategy on, and basically you want to have the start auto enabled. I would leave that on false, right? If you're accustomed to setting it to true so that you can have the auto trader on right away, well, that could backfire on you when you want to use the chart pull down to control the entry signals. So bottom line is, just leave this one setting false. So that's kind of, as a safeguard. Leaving this false, is the safest way to start BlackBird up here. And all right, so let me kind of go through and set BlackBird back up again. So let's get our BloodHound signals in there. All right, I'm just going to double check things. All right, exit signal is good now. Okay. All right, so for the entry signals, I'm going to leave it on use chart pull down. The exit signals, I'll select that. There you go. There's our exit signals. So we're going to have BloodHound show on the chart. And let me create an order set here just so BlackBird has something to start trading. There we go. Something simple. All right, so BlackBird's all ready to go to start trading. And again, the emphasis is on the use chart pull down option here. And let's see, enabled, yes. All right, load it up. So, right, so when Raven starts up, right, when BlackBird is first placed on the chart, the no logic selected is what is what is seen. So this is what BlackBird would start trading right away. But since we have the auto trader disabled, we're safe. So we can go in, select the correct logic template to start trading. There we go, and then enable BlackBird. So that would be your safest way to enable BlackBird when you want to use the chart pull down option here. So Frank wants to use the microphone. All right, go ahead, sir.
This is leading into one of the questions I was going to ask you on a continuation of last week's. If you only have an entry signal, you're going to process reversals. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Well, okay, correct within one exception here. So so we only have entry signals. Now there is this option here, opposite signals force reversal trades. So that
okay, it has to be checked on. Okay.
That is on by default, which basically allows reversal trades to take place.
Okay. The next, and I can see a way around what I'm going to ask, but I'm going to ask it anyway. In the event that you have both the entry and the exit signals, are the reversals ignored?
No. Entry signals are always going to be executed by BlackBird, right? Even if it's a reversal signal. So as long as the opposite signals, force reversal trades, as long as that is turned on, then
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay. I wouldn't have thought that. I would have thought that the exit signals turned off the reversals.
No, those are exit signals. Those aren't anything related to reversal signals. So a reversal signal, is a component of the entry signal.
Signal has both in there. I understand that, but my thought was that if you specifically use an exit signal, you would want to ignore the extraneous signals in the entry chart.
Right. No, not necessarily. If someone is building if someone has built a fully auto trader, and they're if they've done a really excellent job with their entry signals, which is what everybody's trying to do, then if your entries say, hey, it's time to go short, then you're going to want to go short regardless of what your exit signals tell you. So the exit signals are simply, all they do is simply put you flat. That's all they do. They don't do anything else. They don't affect any other components of BlackBird or Raven. They just simply put you flat, and that's it. With the one exception. If you get an exit signal at the same time you get an entry signal, So no, so for example, let's say, okay, so we have an entry short signal here, all right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, if an exit signal to exit a short trade, so if we got a short exit signal, which would be a long, right? A long exit signal would be to exit a short trade. So, right, so if we got an exit on the same bar that we got an entry, that entry will be ignored, right? Because basically your exits are telling you we need to get out of the trade, even though your entries are telling you we should get in the trade. So you have a conflict of interest, and the exits are always basically minimizing risk as a policy. Minimizing risk is what always has precedence. So in other words, the exit signals would have precedence because going flat removes risk. So I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, I'm trying to see. I'm thinking there's kind of some inconsistencies, and maybe it's just the way. Yeah, maybe it's the way I'm thinking about it. Because if you happen to have something in there like a schedule, then the the exit part of the reversals are ignored.
The exit part of the reversals are ignored.
Okay, if you have a schedule,
Yes.
okay, where you're blocking time,
Mm-hmm.
okay, as I understood it from one of the session, anything coming in on the trade side is ignored if the schedule doesn't allow it. So reversals aren't taken.
Correct. Entry signals are ignored, right? And a reversal is a component of an entry signal.
No, I understand. The exit on a reversal, the exit is implied. If you're in a trade.
Well, reversals aren't exits. Reversals is, so let's say if you're one position long, how do you reverse? Well, you go two positions short. Right? That's simply all that the exchange wants to see is you go two contracts short is simply a reversal.
Okay, I got you. Okay, as opposed to a close and an open.
Correct. Well, a close, yeah. So you got to think of this in terms of the exchange, which is a lot simpler than the way traders seem to think about trading. You know, the rules at the exchange are very simplistic, but you know, us people as traders, we like to overcomplicate things. So we think that there's something special about an exit or a reversal, but no, there really isn't. So if you're, if we're short, basically we sold, and the way that you flatten is you buy. You know, there is no flatten command, there is no exit. You just buy,
Right.
And then you're flat. So a reversal would just be buy twice. So there's nothing special about a reversal or exiting or anything. It's just,
so from that point.
yeah, so it's just terminology that seems to kind of get us all confused about, you know, reversing versus exiting being something special. But it all boils down to, you know, just buying or selling, and that's it. That's all the exchange cares about. You know, either you can buy or you can sell. You know, there is no flat thing. The whole flatten thing is that the Ninja Trader software, it keeps track of what you are, so it'll calculate, well, do I need to buy or do I need to sell in order to go flat? You know, the software is calculating that for you, so it can give you that nice, pretty term, flatten or close. You know, so yeah.
Well, the way I didn't think about it is you could almost look at it as a reversal is a different signal because it's a buy in the opposite direction, double it's a buy in the opposite direction using the same one. Well, is it actually double of contracts?
Well,
So if let's say you were too short and you did a reversal, would you go 4 long?
It depends on your order set. So let's say we have it basically, to reverse the number of contracts that you still have open, you take that plus the number of contracts that you want to place on. So if we have like a three target, say like we have three contracts here, and so if contract A is taken off, and we still have two open, then the software, calculates, or the software knows that, I still have two open, so I'll place two in the opposite direction, plus an additional three because I'm trying to reverse, three contracts.
Okay, so it essentially closes all of the orders, whether they're filled or not, in one direction, and replicates it in the opposite direction. Even though you may not get submitted that way, but that's what it's doing.
Yes, exactly. Right. So you might have a limit order. So we got two market orders and a limit order. Right, so order A and B, they're filled instantly, but order C, let's say order C hasn't been picked up yet.
Right.
Now order A, that gets, let's just set this something really small. So order A, boom, the profit target gets hit. So order A is off. Order A is closed out. Profit target got hit right away, and then let's say order B is still open. That's a much larger target. So so in our theoretical trade here, order B is still open. Order C has not been filled yet, so there's a working order out there, or a pending order out there. Right. Now, if you get a reversal signal, then the software knows, NinjaTrader knows, well, we're long one position, so we need to sell one position to flatten out order B, and C is not filled, it's still working, so we just cancel it.
Cancel it, yeah.
Yeah, okay. We cancel it. You're right. You can't cancel an order that's open. You have to buy, or you have to trade in the opposite direction, buy or sell in the opposite direction. Yeah, so basically only one contract is submitted to the exchange in the opposite direction to close out B, and then C is just canceled. And then three new.
Well, now wait a minute. Then that would mean A and C have to be entered separately, because B was already reversed.
Well, okay, so what I talked about was just to get to a flat state, and then BlackBird, submits A, B, and C after that.
Okay. Okay, so it does it. So it handles the closing, or whatever needs to be done to close out of the existing trade, separate from what needs to be done to re-enter the trade in the opposite direction.
Correct.
Okay, so BlackBird will figure out what to do in the right sequence. If A was closed out, it does nothing. If B was still open, it does a reversal for the same number of contracts, and in C it would cancel, and then it would go back and reopen the order set as you have it specified in the opposite direction.
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Here's where I was going with that, and I'm seeing that as my thinking is not wrong. My thinking was that when you're designing a strategy, if you had a exit logic for and the entry logic, that if it ignored the reversals, then you don't have to spend a lot of time trying to get rid of the extraneous stuff in the entry because the exit would essentially negate it. In other words, if BloodHound wasn't processing the BlackBird wasn't processing the reversals, but that's not true. I was thinking that you could be more specific on your exit logic, and because those signals would be ignored, but that's not true. If you know what I'm saying.
I
Let me rephrase it.
think so.
Okay, you're designing an entry sheet. Okay, and now you've got a lot of all these extraneous signals that you have to go through and figure out what you need to do to avoid it. All right, to not get those extraneous signals. Okay, and where I was going with what I was thinking, but it's not true, is that if BlackBird was ignoring the reversal signals when you had an exit logic, then all those extraneous signals would be meaningless if you focused on a good exit signal in your design. But that's not true. Okay.
It would be there would be an exception to that because as I explained, the exit signals, if there's a conflict between the exit signals and the entry signal, then the entry signal is ignored. So let me think this through. Actually, no, there would never be a conflict. Yeah, if you're short, and yeah, if you're short, yeah, let me draw on the chart here. So we're short, and then let's say we get a long entry signal here on this bar, but at the same time, if there was if there was a exit signal that would exit that short, I'm sorry, if there was an exit signal that conflicted with the entry signal long, that entry signal would be ignored. So there would be no reversal. So yeah, just to clarify, this exit signal is technically it's a short, so this exit signal only affects long positions. And since we're in a short position, this exit signal has no bearing on this short position.
Yeah. No, I understand what you're saying, but it's not quite the same example. If you look over to all of the long signals on the chart, okay, and these are pretty good, so it's not really a good example. But let's say those other three. Well, let's say let's make believe those were shorts. Those two or three. There's some interspersed shorts in there.
Okay. Oh, here, let me
put some. For some reason, the logic, your logic chart gives you shorts in between those longs.
Let's see here.
And that's it. This is a pretty good. This is a pretty good layout. So you're not seeing it. But if you had some bad logic in here where you were getting short signals.
Okay.
Okay. If you were only using the entry, those would cause a reversal. Correct?
Correct.
As long as you didn't uncheck that box. Now,
correct.
Yeah, showed me before. Now, what I was trying to say is that when you were designing the thing, if you designed it such that your exit logic was good, better than your entry, that all of these shorts that were interspersed would be ignored. And the only thing you would process is your exit, but that would flatten the whole trade, which may be what you want to do.
Okay, yeah. So what you're exit signals or your exit logic template, what it would need to do is
I'm saying it's more correct than the entry. The reversals on the entry is what I'm saying.
Yeah. So
And you do that by unchecking the box and essentially ignore those extraneous signals in the opposite direction on the entry chart.
okay. Yeah. That right. That could be one way. Is just uncheck that. That means reversals are no longer allowed. Right. Correct. But if this was checked, and if the exit signals template was being used, so if that was also being used, then the other way that reversals would be ignored is if let's just say this is a second BloodHound running here. So if let's say this represents your exit signals. So if your exit signals are outputting longs, meaning that any short trade is every short trade is going to be exited, every single bar. So basically, if your exit signals are outputting a long, then every short entry signal gets ignored because your exits are blocking, or basically are preventing your short entries.
Right. I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
And then when you give the true reversal in the exit logic, it would take effect.
Correct. Yeah. So let's just say, extend this like this.
Right.
And then further down here.
Yeah, that's a short.
Huh. It's weird. It seems like with the last update or last couple updates, drawing objects really get kind of weird. It's like I can't shorten this down anymore.
Yeah.
Really bizarre behavior with drawing objects now. Okay, there we go. All right, just for the sake of everybody at home there. All right. Yeah, so now if your system is starting to take short signals, if this is your exits, then any kind of reversal long signals would be ignored if the exit signals were showing on every single bar here.
Right.
So there you go. So there's kind of two ways that you could accomplish that.
I understand.
Exiting.
It's about what I was thinking is where do you want to spend your time? Designing really good entry signals or describing really good exit signals.
Correct. Right. Yep.
Yep. Okay. All right. You answered my question. That was what I was wondering.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Good deal. Thanks. Yeah. Let's see. All right.
Okay. Yeah. Just the same as yesterday. You did complete it all in Raven, and we were just going to complete the same scenario in BlackBird today. And you did say the template, so you have it ready for today. So it is there somewhere, probably. And because I know it's not an ATM in BlackBird, so we have to, program it in here into the BlackBird settings. It was basically, we started with an ATM, but then after the second plus trades, it would use the WMA21.
Right. Okay.
To close above or below to exit the trade.
Yeah. Actually,
If that makes sense.
Yes. And
yeah, I think that's it right there.
There we go. Yeah, Oh, yeah, that's right. There we go. this exit signal after first entry signal, right? That is, yeah. So there we go. We have that solver checking when price crosses the WMA. Yeah, so we're good to go with the BloodHound. Yeah, with the BloodHound stuff. So, all right, yeah. Let me clear everything out and kind of start from the beginning here. All right, so the goal of this is how to explain this. Let me make up a couple of order sets here. Well, I guess I don't need to make up a bunch, but I'll just make one order set here, and I'm gonna make sure that the profit target is kind of high, because what we're really interested in is the stop loss part of it. Let's see. I think 15 ticks will be enough for the example. All right, so the goal is that for the first trade, the stop loss will be used to close out, the trade at a loss. But on the second trade of the day, we want the BloodHound exit signal to actually be the component to close out the trade. So, all right, yeah. So let me finish getting BloodHound loaded into BlackBird here. All right, so we're using yesterday's BloodHound workshop file, which has everything in it. And again, let me just double check. So the exit entry signal, yeah, everything looks good. And here's our fictitious entry signals here. Those look good. All right. So we'll set those up in BlackBird. So there's our entry signals. And here's our exit signal after first entry signal. There we go. All right. So everything's set up now. All right. So again, just to reiterate, the goal here is that the stop loss, so if the market goes against the trade, the stop loss will close out the first trade, and then the second, third, and fourth, and any other trades afterwards, after the first trade, the goal is to have the exit signal close out the trade. So for the rest of the day. All right, and of course, the difference would be, so in actuality, what's really happening is that the stop loss and the exit signals are both going to be in effect after the first trade. So there's no way to prevent a stop loss. If a stop loss is set up, yeah, there's really no way to prevent it.
Correct. That's why you want a larger.
Yeah. So, all right, I guess I'll use a larger stop loss then. Yeah. All right. It looks like 20 should be large enough for that WMA 21. All right. So click OK, and let me put the WMA on the chart here. All right, WMA 21, and let me change the color here so we're not using orange. All right, there we go. There's a 21. Let's see if there's anything else I need. No, I don't believe so. All right. All right, let me turn the auto trader on. Let's see, we just missed a signal, but I can get another signal here. Okay, so here we go. All right, so we got one trade going on here. So the test is we're gonna have the market go below our WMA, and we want to make sure that shoot, I wish I had put a second BloodHound on the chart here so we could see the exit signals, but in any case, we'll just have to make note that the order should not close out when price crosses our WMA. All right, it's looking like price is gonna cross that WMA on this next bar, on this bar here. Oh, almost, almost. All right, let's see here. Let's get price to go up. Okay, and let's see. It did. Oh, yeah. Shoot. The way it was designed. Yeah. So this was the first. This was the first signal of the day. So our exits are already in effect. So, okay, I'm going to have to go in and make some adjustments. Make some adjustments to the times here. Let's see. So 11, I just need to kind of guesstimate how much time I need on BloodHound template, and then I can go in here and play around with the times. All right, let's see. All right, so let's see. I think I can just change the reset time. Yes, I'm just going to change the reset time here. The reset time for the exit signal, just so I can get it to work right now. Because as it is, yeah, see, it's designed to work reset when the market opens, but let's see here. So, there we go, 11:09. I think will work. Yep, there we go. Okay. And let's turn that off. All right, I'm going to refresh the chart. And I think that will, yeah, that'll reset BloodHound and everything. And actually, before we get going, let's see. I'm going to put that second BloodHound on here, so that way I have confirmation that the exit signals are resetting at the correct time. So let's see here. Okay, there we go. Let's see. So our exit signals should have reset, hopefully. We'll find out here. So let me generate a long signal. So we can see that NinjaTrader has decided that the BloodHound is going to paint the chart instead of BlackBird's BloodHound. So there's really no way to control this. It's just up to NinjaTrader, and there doesn't seem to be any consistency as to which BloodHound NinjaTrader will pick that has the ability to show the racing stripes. Yeah. Let's see, I'm not getting any entry signals. All right, I'm just going to have to let the market keep going up. So remember, our entry signals are filtered with the MACD. So I guess let me throw the MACD on the chart. That way we can see what's going on with the MACD. There we go. Okay, good. So there's our entry. Okay, so hopefully, let's see. Yeah, I think this is, yeah, our exit signals, if I did my job in BloodHound correctly, our exit signals should have reset on this bar, 1109. Yeah, so, should be, so when I make price cross that WMA, there should not be an exit signal. All right, so let's find out. Nothing to do but just wait in silence. All right, so the close of this bar will close below the WMA. And shoot, we got an exit signal. I didn't get the resets. It didn't reset correctly on me. All right, yeah. Let me just check my BloodHound logic again. I'm gonna create another entry signal first here. Okay, so give me a moment to adjust the BloodHound logic. Now all these extra adjustments are only needed just because, right, I'm trying to quickly adjust the opening time of the market, you know, so that it starts with the time that we're doing our testing, right? So this won't be needed, you know, for what all these adjustments aren't going to be needed for you know, your actual trading here. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so we're looking at the signal counter here on the chart. Yeah, we can see the signal counter got reset now at 1109, which then does not turn the toggle node on. So if I look at the toggle node, yeah, there we go. Now the toggle node turned on after the second signal after 1109. All right, so let's see what time's it now. All right, so let's adjust our reset signal to 1120. Let's see, 1120. Yeah. And let's refresh. And okay. Oh. Let's see. Oh, yeah, that is correct. Sorry, right. It's not 11:20 yet. Yeah, it's easy to get confused here. Okay, let's connect that back up correctly. There we go. All right. And let's see. All right, so that bar should reset. That should be the reset of the exit signals on that bar after the adjustments I made. And I just need to go in and load. All right, I need to load the changes into BlackBird. Right, if you'll notice, let's see, which one is it? Reset midnight. right, it's got the old settings in BlackBird still. So we need to reload the new BloodHound file into BlackBird so those changes take effect. All right, there. Okay, so I think we're ready to give this another shot here. Actually, I'm gonna move the market up slowly, and I'm just gonna do a quick check here to make sure our toggle node has been reset. And yes, so I can see those two closed bars, the toggle node's off. Okay, yeah, I think it's gonna work this time. All right, you'll notice after resetting the chart the last time, now NinjaTrader is showing our entry signals for the racing stripes. So yeah, you know, trying to get the right bloodhound to show the racing stripes, if you're really particular, it is kind of difficult to do in Ninja because you never know which one. Oh, darn it. Okay, I'm just gonna go. Had to start this manually here. I had the auto trader disabled here. Oh, let me make sure I have this option turned on. I didn't have that turned on. All right, sorry. We're gonna have to do this one more time. Let's see, 11. All right. So I'm going to change the reset time so we can start over again. All right, 11:23. That ought to work. Okay, let me load the new changes in here. All right, should be good. Yeah, let me refresh the chart here. I had to refresh the chart because remember I loaded a new BloodHound template into BloodHound for BlackBird, and so I had that notification down here for the BloodHound running in BlackBird that said I needed to refresh the chart. So that's what I did. All right, let's get another trade. Oh, and let's turn on the auto trader there. All right, I'm just going to check that toggle node again. Yep, good. The toggle node's off. Okay, excellent. Or I should say the toggle node got reset at the right time. So when we get a trade signal, we should be good to go this time. All right, we just need one more bar to close. There we go. Okay, good. All right, just going to pull the market up a little bit to get our WMA away from that stop loss. All right, so now we'll just let the market come down, cross the WMA, and this time there should not be an exit signal. Well, actually, Actually, yes, there will not be an exit signal. Okay, there we go. Good deal. Right, no exit signal. So remember the white line, the white dashed line represents kind of like our reset time for the exit signals. All right, we'll just let the market come down, hit that stop loss, and then we'll get the second trade going. There we go. Stop loss hit. All right, let me move the market up, and we'll get a second trade going here. I'll just put a little line down here in BloodHound as well to kind of identify when our exit signals was reset. So we'll notice that there's no exit signals past the white line yet, not until we get our second entry signal. All right, we're going to need one more up bar, and then we'll get, and our MACD needs to go cross above the 0 line here. So hopefully that'll do it on this bar. There we go. Okay, second trade signal. All right, I'm just going to generate one more up bar, and then I'll pull the market down. All right, we should get an exit signal here on this bar, it looks like. There we go. Yep, there was our exit signal. All right, let me generate another entry signal, and we'll do this one more time for good measure. All right, yeah, MACD is still above the 0 line, so that's good. All right, so 2 more bars, and we'll get another entry signal. Okay, there we go. All right, and there's our exit signal again. Okay, there we go. So we know it works. Of course, I just had to make a lot of adjustments to the BloodHound, to one of the BloodHound solvers there, to kind of work with our current time as opposed to the market's opening time. All right, so let's see if there's any questions on this. All right, thanks, Mr. Young. Sounds good. All right. Well, gentlemen, you guys know the drill. If you like today's files, just email us in, and Mike or Keith will get those over to you. I don't see any new questions in here, so I'm just going to assume we're done for the day. All right. Well, guys, with that, hey, have a good weekend, and of course, keep your questions coming.